Hello parents and students, welcome to the online Recorder Karate lesson series. My name is Mr. Whitfield. I am the music teacher at Stanley Switlik Elementary School, and these lessons will help you to know what your child should be practicing at home to learn the Recorder Karate series. I would like to say welcome to my dojo. In lesson 1, we are going to talk about how to hold the recorder, how to blow into the recorder properly so that we get the nice sweet sound out of the recorder and not a high squeaky sound. We also are going to learn the first 3 notes of the recorder that your students will need to know in order to play the first 3 songs of the Recorder Karate series, which are Hot Cross Buns, Gently Sleep, and Merrily We Roll Along, also known as Mary Had a Little First Lamb. Thing that we have to know is how to properly blow into the instrument so that we don't get that high squeaky sound. First thing that I tell students is to put their finger in the air, pretend that it's a candle and that the tip of their finger is the flame. We want to make sure that we don't blow out this flame, but that we simply bend the flame. As you can see, I'm using warm, slow air to just bend the flame of the candle and not blow it completely out. If I blow the air too fast and it's cold, fast air, then it's going to blow the flame out. Here's the difference when we play this on our recorder. If I play using warm, slow air, we get this sound. That is the proper sound, a fairly pleasing, soft sound. Now, if I play blowing out the flame and using very fast, cold air, we get a very high, very nasty sound. And I'm sure that as your kids are practicing in their bedrooms, you probably want to hear the softer sound more than you want to hear that high squeaking sound. The next segment of this lesson, we're going to talk about how to properly hold the recorder. Number 1 rule, your left hand goes on top of the recorder, not on the bottom. Your right hand goes on the bottom of the recorder. So, I'm going to turn around so that you can see which side you should hold the recorder on. Okay, I'm going to turn around. Now you can see that I'm holding the recorder in my left hand. This is the hand that goes on top of the recorder. Some students, because they're right-handed, will try to hold it with their right hand on top. This will not work. When we hold the recorder, we want to make sure that we have the right angle. We should use a 45-degree angle, like this. If the recorder is down too far, it's going to be very hard to play. We don't want the recorder sticking straight out either. A 45-degree angle is what we're looking for. Okay, now let's talk about where our fingers go on the recorder. You can see that on the front side of the recorder, we've got holes that go down the front. If I take my recorder, notice the name is in the front, and I turn it around backwards, there is one hole in the back. This hole is for your left thumb. When I hold the recorder, I put my left thumb on that hole. Then we use the fingers to cover these holes down the front. First finger covers the top hole. Second finger, next hole down. Third finger, next hole down. Now the pinky in our left hand, hello, doesn't get used at all. It just stays up like we're sipping tea. Only the thumb, 1, 2, and third finger of our left hand gets use on the recorder. For a right hand, however, the thumb is only used in the back where there are no holes, but it's used to help us balance and hold the recorder as we're playing. We use 1, 2, 3, and 4 fingers on our right hand. After we've covered the top 3 with our left hand, these fingers will cover the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you look very closely at your recorder, you will notice that the last 2 holes actually have 2 holes. There's a big one and a small one. We won't get to those notes for a while, so for now, none of the fingers in the right hand will be in use. Keep those up in the air. And again, make sure your right hand is on the bottom of the recorder. Let's dive into these first 3 notes. The first note that we need to learn is the B note. So every time you see any note that's across the 3rd line, that is the B note. The fingering on the recorder for the B note is thumb and 1 of the left hand. So I'm going to take my recorder, cover the thumb hole in the back and the top hole. Again, this is with my left hand. Now, putting my recorder at a 45-degree angle and blowing with warm, slow air, I get the B. Once your student has that sound, make sure that they're using the squishy, fleshy part of the tip of their finger to cover the hole. And here's a good test to see if you're actually covering the hole all the way. Pull your fingers off of the recorder and then look at the tip of your finger. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look closely, you can see a tiny little circle on the tip of my finger. That circle shows that I'm covering the hole all the way. Let's move on to the next note. We're going to do the note A. A is located on the musical staff in the 2nd space up. To finger the A correctly on the recorder, we are going to use thumb, 1, and 2 of our left hand on the top of the recorder. Thumb, 1, and 2. Again, I'm making sure to use the flat, squishy part of the tip of my finger to cover those holes. Warm air, and that's the sound you should get. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the 3rd and final note for this first lesson. It is the G note. G is located on our musical staff in the treble clef on the 2nd line up. Any note that you see on that 2nd line will be a G. We finger the G, thumb, 1, 2, and 3. Thumb in the back of the recorder, 1, 2, and 3, covering all 4 of those holes. Now we're using all of the fingers of our left hand that we'll ever use. Remember, we don't use our pinky on the left hand. That's the sound you should get. Make sure by checking to see if those circles are on your fingers to see if you're covering the holes all the way. If we don't cover the holes all the way, we can get those squeaking sounds. We don't want those. I suggest that you practice each one of those 3 notes and practice playing them in any order you want. You can play them starting with the B, going down to the A, and then going down to the G. This one's pretty easy because you simply add a finger for each note. And your students might be thinking it sounds an awful lot like the beginning of Hot Cross Buns. We can play it backwards and start on the G, go to A, and then B. Or we could play them out of order. Why don't we play B, G, where we have to put these 2 fingers down at the same time, and then lift up your bottom finger and go to A. Again, every time I'm making sure that I cover the holes completely and keep blowing the warm, soft air. Well, thank you for tuning in to lesson number 1 of Recorder Karate at Stanley Switlik Elementary. I hope you're well on your way to learning all these songs. Tune in next time for lesson 2, Hot Cross Buns.